Okay, good afternoon. This is Debbie Davis. It is September 22nd, 2025. Okay, so I've had a problem with things on my phone or in my computer where the memory, I've talked about this, the memory keeps filling up with different things or just keeps saying, so my videos keep getting cut off. So hopefully I cleaned up enough, but but the reason why I keep bringing up this inalienable rights subject is because I think it's really important. It's not, and nobody's talking about it. And the reason why it's important is because we have these inalienable rights, God-given rights, given to us that goes way back to the book of Genesis, because we're made in the image of God. And so let me just read it, and because the cabal knows this, that we have these fundamental rights given to us by God, because we're made in the image of God. That is why they are trying to push these transgender agendas, because then you're not completely made in the image of God anymore as a man or a woman. You're now something different. So, then that person is not exactly made in the image of God, and they are pushing that agenda because of this whole thing. So if you do some kind of, so that if you are even thinking about some kind of thing like that as a teenager, then you need to know this type of thing, because then it makes you into a different, it completely changes you from something different than the image that you were made in by God. Okay, so they're called inalienable rights, fundamental rights that are inherent to all individuals and that cannot be taken away, either voluntarily or involuntarily, given by God. Okay, so then it's like I said, it goes way back to the book of Genesis. But then when you start messing with the genes or messing with transgender, then taking some of these jabs like we've talked about, okay, then you're messing with your original blueprint. So then they think, oh, well, you're no longer human, so now we can own you and you lose your inalienable rights. They want to own us like a corporation. They think they own. That's why they already think they own us. So if you do something like that, then they own you even more, because then you're part of, like, then they can say you're now transhuman and that you're in a different category of humanity. This is truly like the agenda that nobody's talking about. But and then I personally think with all of this evil, I mean, I really do, I personally believe that the death penalty should come back. And the reason why I think that is because the level of evil that we've allowed to happen without any justice is just gone to a certain point now, where it's affected it's affected the entire society. And we're not dealing with full humans anymore. We know now that some people are hybrids. Some of the stuff we're finding out that has gone on in these DARPA bases are just like, it's unbelievable what they haven't been telling us, right? So we are not dealing with full humans anymore. We're dealing with people who are hybrids. There's people that have, gotten, that are not, because of the things we've been exposed to, and also the ones that are the worst are the ones that have just openly sold their soul, right? And so you have, when you sell your soul, you allow a demon to come in. Okay, so we're not even dealing with full humans anymore. So that is why I think the death penalty needs to come back, because I think that's the only thing that's going to really clear it up pretty fast, or that could help. So that's just my personal opinion. Even though it says thou shalt not kill, I understand that. It also says in James 2:13, it says there shall be no mercy for those who have shown no mercy. And these people have shown no mercy to us. So, you know, they've for years they've tried to push this like weak Christian agenda, like turn the other cheek, you know, pray for your enemy type stuff. Okay, you know, we're in a totally different era now. And they've been pushing that agenda for years, and it has created weak Christians. You know, we're in a totally different age. We can't be weak Christians, and they've pushed this agenda on purpose. So you are a weak Christian, okay? So we need warriors. We're in an age where we need warriors, and this country's being judged. I mean, we're under judgment. It's like the book of Daniel. So in Daniel 5:27. Okay, I'm just gonna read it here. Let's see. Hold on. Yeah, it says, okay. So, yeah, Daniel 5:27. Okay, so it was in the kingdom in 539 BC. It was this was Babylon, where there was a king Belshazzar who was killed. Well, okay, what happened is that he was just very prideful. So it's because of his pride and his complete disregard of the real God. Okay, pride and total blasphemy. Okay, so he one night when they were partying and they were having a party to the foreign idols. They also worship foreign idols. Okay, this is in 539 BC. One day there was literally like a finger that came out of nowhere. Disembodied figure or something that came out of nowhere that started writing on the wall as they were all in there partying to their foreign gods. And it said, Mene, Jekyll, Perez. Okay, and what that means is, Mene means God has numbered the days of your kingdom and brought it to an end. Jekyll means you have been weighed in the scales and found wanting. Perez means your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. So what happened was, and this was literally the hand of God that came down. Okay, and so then, right, like immediately, Belshazzar, true to his word, clothed Daniel with purple and a gold chain and made him the third highest ruler in the kingdom. That very night, King Belshazzar was killed, and the Median King Darius received the kingdom. Okay, so it was because of his pride, blasphemy of God, and worship of foreign idols. Okay, complete disregard of the true God. Okay, so we have to remember these stories because we can learn from our history. So, okay. So that's what I have for today. And then there's also something going on. I had an issue with the VA. I've talked about many issues before, but the latest thing, like I said, I've had this nurse. Some of these nurses, they aren't even real nurses. I mean, that sounds crazy, but we know this. We know now that they're not even real nurses. They're literally called contract tracer nurses, and they started implementing these different hospitals, including the VA, and since COVID. And they weren't supposed to stay. They're not real nurses. They were supposed to be contract nurses, contact tracer nurses, to help over COVID only. And a lot of them are not even licensed, and they're still at these facilities, and they're not even licensed nurses. We know this now. And one of them is just trying to ruin my life. Literally, like, completely stopping my care. But it's not just mine. It's they're messing with the whole massage therapy area in the community care, because even when I did get pre-approved at a different location, that when I already went and talked to that location and I said, are you willing to work with veterans? They said, yes, we're a vendor. And they said there's no waiting list and all that stuff. So then I go to contact community care and I put them on the list, and then I want to get scheduled with them because I have never used these 12 sessions. Then they're trying to tell them, this facility, that they need an NPI number. The massage therapists need an NPI number. Okay, in the state of Minnesota, NPI number is what you get when you're licensed. When you're a licensed provider, like a nurse or a doctor or a dentist. The massage therapists here are not required to be licensed. You're just required in the state of Minnesota to be certified. So since the massage therapist couldn't provide the VA with a NPI number, I couldn't get my care. Okay, there's hardly any massage therapy therapists that have an NPI number because it's not required to be licensed. There's a few people that have gotten their license, because it was required for certain jobs maybe, but it is not overall required in the state of Minnesota. It never has been. So the VA cannot use that as a standard. They have to, this is another thing so the therapists are losing money, so they can't even work on the veterans, and the veterans are losing their care because of this. So this has to be cleared up. So we have to somehow as veterans try to get this thing cleared up because all of our massage therapy that we were getting is now on hold until we get this cleared up. So they're requesting these NPI numbers that are not they're requesting a requirement that is not even required in the entire state of Minnesota, but yet the VA requires a license, but the entire state of Minnesota doesn't require the massage therapist to be licensed. So clearly that doesn't make sense. Okay, so that's my video today.